Welcome back. All right, so we've made it through a lot of material. There was a lot to get through. And even with all that time that we spent, it's an overview, right? And there's only so much that I can present here, but I hope that what I've covered gets you going, right? And that it gets you good information that you need. So what do taking the next steps involve? All right, so when we talk about these next steps, I want to go back to this timeline, okay? So, again, when we started out, we talked about the part of the timeline that you are most familiar with and that you've spent a lot of time on, which is proposal writing, and then, of course, submitting that proposal. But there's a lot more. So now that we've gone through the entire course, let's just review this and think about all these different stages that you want to make your way through so that you get to over here, which is performing the funded research. So an online presence. Now you can see how we can use LinkedIn especially to connect with funders. So you want to be there. You want to have some basic presence there so that you can make the most of that. We've talked about different ways to do an opportunity search and find the opportunities that are going to be suitable for you, and digging a bit deeper, not just into the calls and reading the program descriptions, although we want to do that, but digging deeper to find out what is the research that's actually being performed in the labs right now and how can you start to engage with that. Conversations with funders, that's something we talked about a bit, but didn't get into too much because this is something that's really broader than DoD, and this course is focused on DoD. A pre-proposal stage, that we didn't go deeply into that either, but you can see that that can really vary a lot from an informal to a very informal or a very formal process. Again, we've got, your grant writing that you need to do here, submitting that and waiting for a decision, and then performing the work, or if it's not something that gets funded, what could the plan be, right? And if you've had conversations up until this point, it's a lot easier to get back on the phone and say, hey, okay, is there going to be an option for a plan B here? Rather than if you have not had any conversations or not built any relationships and you get that decline. So once again, grant writing is just part of the process. And so I've spent almost all of this course showing you about the everything else that's critically important and that has traditionally not been taught or really even communicated to PIs. So this is critical skills, critical information, and people have been missing this information. So what do they need? Okay, we talked about information, right? What do you need? You need information. Now, I've provided a lot of information here, but information is really not enough. We all have a lot of information available to us. Again, there's some information that we are lacking, and I do feel that good information on DoD research funding has been lacking, even though, we pointed to some videos from DARPA and other videos that you can find on YouTube to learn about the programs, but it's not been all in one place. It's not really been utilized, right? Because maybe it is hard to find or it's a little bit scattered. So with this course, I was hoping to consolidate and provide something holistic with an overview of, again, information. But information can only take you so far. So what is the other thing that you need to have the funding success that you're looking for? And now I will tell you about the program that we offer through Wise Investigator that can help you with this, but I want you to keep in mind that if you decide not to work with Wise Investigator, you still want to pursue this other piece. This needs to happen. We can help you make it happen and hold your hand and walk you through it, but it needs to happen. It needs to happen. And that is implementation. So we can get information, we can take in more information, and if we don't use the information, apply the information, I like to call it implementation, really, even rather than application, we are not going to have the success that we're looking for. So what are some of the ways that things have gone wrong, right? When you have just the information, when you have training programs or help that's just providing you information alone. You can find yourself in a situation where you are involved in a program or some training that is teaching you only grant writing. Now, grant writing is an important skill. I will never say, don't do that program on grant writing. Do it, right? Learn grant writing. We teach people grant writing. It is necessary but not sufficient. So if you're only being taught grant writing and learning how to implement skills in grant writing only, it is not enough. Okay, one-way delivery of information, that is not enough. There is room for one-way delivery of information. That is what I have provided in this course. So I believe that there is value in that, and I know there's value in that. But one-way delivery of information alone is not enough to get you where you want to go. You also don't want to be in a situation where you are getting behind with material because of information overload and because of the demands on your schedule. So this is not a productive way, the most productive way to move forward with something when you are constantly getting behind and feeling frustrated because you can't, keep up. So what does all of this lead to? It really leads to a situation where you are finding yourself on your own to do this implementation. Now, implementation is a very critical and necessary piece. So if you're on your own for that can be tough. Some people are going to have better luck and better outcomes trying to implement this and making some progress on their own, especially if they feel very comfortable reaching out to people and having conversations. And other people are going to struggle more for a whole variety of reasons. But even for the people who do relatively better with this, they are going to do even better if they can get some help on implementation. So when I designed the WISE Investigator program, it was very important to me that we had certain features, okay? So it is a program that teaches grant writing plus the everything else, okay? That's all the really important stuff. And that is what we teach and we walk you through. So, talking about walking you through, this is a one-on-one done with you solution. So we hold your hand through it. You are doing the work yourself, but we are doing it with you in that we're supporting you and coaching you along the way. So you're not just on your own to figure out implementation. It is also a program that works around your schedule. That goes with it being one-on-one. So you're not going to get behind. If you have to go to a conference or you're having a baby or something like that in your family, take a break for that, right? And you can come back and continue with the program. It's not something you're going to get behind on because you have travel or family commitments. So importantly, you will start implementing what you're learning in the program. And so you will start getting results while you were in the program. You're not going to go from, an idea to writing a proposal to submitting a proposal and hearing a result back within 6 weeks, right? Because that's not how the timeline works, but you will start getting results. You will have meetings with funders. You will have conversations that are leading you towards the next step, that are building your confidence. So this is something that happens while you are in the program, not something, again, where you have a lot of information kind of dumped on you, and then you are left to pick up the pieces and try to figure out how to make that work. So when you want to know about the kind of results that you can get from working with WISE Investigator, check our website because we will list the average award size at the current time on the website, and that will tell you about our results. They are very good. And further, I would like to talk about an analogy here that I often use to demonstrate this point and how important it is to actually start doing this, the implementation, yourself, if you want to have any result, right? And this really kind of comes down to a situation that's very similar to learning how to ride a bike. So we can go to YouTube and we can look, I don't know how many videos there may be on there, but a lot. Learn how to ride a bike, So this is something we can watch videos on. There are many ways that we can gather information on how to do well with bike riding, how to learn how to do it, and how to get better, right? Even like, for example, we could interview a professional cyclist about their experience in one of these races, right? And learn about, okay, what are the challenges with professional cycling? You know, what are the skills you need to develop? And, you know, what is that experience like, right? But these are all examples of activities that are still not going to help us even learn how to ride the bike without actually doing the work, right? So this is what we need. We actually need to get on the bike, and ideally we have somebody who's there with us to keep us steady, you know, as we make progress. And once you learn how to ride the bike, that's it. You're just doing it. You don't need help with that for the rest of your life. So you're going to end up like this person here, right? You're confident, you're comfortable, you're riding the bike, you're by yourself, you're independent. It's not something that you're going to stress about anymore. It's something actually that you're going to enjoy. So I would like to invite you to get in touch with me to learn more about the Wise Investigator program. And I would like you to think about it in this context here. So when you make an investment in working with us, you need to consider two things, right? How are you going to pay for the program? Now, there are funds within your university that can be used to pay for this. And so far, clients have been very successful in requesting funds to support their participation in the program. There's a very high return on investment. You can see the average award size on our website, and you can see that the institution is recouping these funds based on the awards that you win, which go to the institution, right? And you also have the option of using startup funds or other funds that you have access to. But if you don't have startup funds any longer, you have a very low amount of startup funds, you can ask someone like your department chair, like a dean, like any administrator, someone from faculty development, and get in touch with me because I could give you some suggestions on how you can ask for funds and find a way to participate in the program. You should not have to use your personal funds to participate in this program. Now, the important investment that you need to think about here is your time, okay? Because the money is there and that can be figured out. But you have many, many demands on your time. So one of the most important aspects of what we provide with Wise Investigator is an efficient program that's time efficient. So we have worked hard to optimize the delivery of the program. We are constantly refining how we work with clients to make this as time efficient as possible, because you don't have time to just, sit passively through, more video courses or, more lectures or kind of like group settings where people are asking questions that aren't really relevant to your situation, right? And I mean, we do have video courses and you've watched a video course here, so there is value in that, but we want to keep that, again, as efficient as possible. And so that is why we have the one-on-one program, so we can deliver it efficiently, and we're always trying to make it more efficient. So yes, the money, you can find that somewhere, but also really think about your time, because that is the most valuable part of all of this. Okay, so if you are tired of getting decline after decline on proposals that you have spent a lot of time working on, and you're tired of using the same approach over and over again, because when you do the same thing over and over and over, there is no reason to think that you are going to get a result that is any different than you are already getting, right? Then you have to do something differently. Okay, so we are going to help you do something differently. And at the end of the day, you want the stress of needing to get these awards to go away. You don't want to let students go. You want to get tenure. You want to go on to the next, step of your career. You want to have that win, right? Because you've been working really hard to get to this point, and this is really a stumbling block right now. But most importantly, you really want to have the experience of seeing the impact of your research, getting this work done and seeing where it goes, whether it goes to continue along a basic research line and inform new ideas and, new investments from that, whether it's something that's close to being transitioned into a technology and you can see this benefiting people and benefiting their health, benefiting the environment, benefiting our nation and national security. These are all things that you want to see, right? And getting the work funded is a really big part of that. So if you are ready to take this step, then please just reach out to me. Okay, you can send me an email. My email address is there. You can send me a DM on LinkedIn. You can go ahead onto our website and there's a Calendly link right there. Schedule a Zoom call directly. If you don't see a time that works for you there, then just go to the DM or go to the email because I do have more availability than will be shown on Calendly. So thank you for joining me on this course on DoD funding. I hope that you got a lot out of it and I hope to hear from you soon.